Hello. I want to offer a little hope and encouragement to all of us here in the Anglosphere with this headline. Now, not that I'm rejoicing that Trump might be arrested. I mean, he says he will be. We're not sure. No, it's not that so much as what my husband said. Oh, if you notice, this is a BBC website, so they've got a really unflattering picture of Trump here. You have to watch out for that. No, I want to tell you about something that my husband said just yesterday, and actually I made a video about it and I wasn't happy with it, so I'm making another video, and I'm glad I waited because I found a couple more news articles that might help to confirm my thesis. And it's this: my husband said when he heard the news about the possibility of an arrest, they're really afraid of him, aren't they? And my husband isn't that, he doesn't follow American politics that carefully, but it was obvious to him that all of this is the Democratic Party, or what is called the Democrat Party, isn't it? Just terrified of Trump. And I said, no, they're not afraid of him. They're afraid of the people who vote for him. And he's their voice. And they're afraid of that. So before I carry on talking about that, I'll tell you I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I'm also on Twitter, Gab and Parler. I let you know when I've uploaded a video on those platforms. You can help my channel by liking this video, by sharing this video, and by subscribing. And if you happen to be subscribed on YouTube, remember, check that your subscription is still active. And you can also help me financially. There should be the bouncing coffee cup there. There's Buy Me a Coffee, a couple of others. They're all in the description. Everything I've spoken about, the links are all in the description. Right, so let's see this joyful little article from the BBC. Ex-US President Donald Trump expects to be arrested on Tuesday, it says. However, his lawyers said there'd been no communication from law enforcement, and the former president's post was based on media reports. Prosecutors have been looking at a possible indictment of Mr. Trump, and if he is indicted, it would be the first criminal case ever brought against a former US president. Maybe I've got this wrong, but I thought that the reason that they were getting at him was over a payment to a lady of somewhat scarlet reputation called Stormy Daniels, or at least that's her nom de guerre, for hush money, because he was afraid she was about to break the news about a relationship she says he had with her just before the 2016 election. So I actually don't understand this, because I know adultery isn't very nice, but surely it's not an indictable offence. I'm not sure about paying a lady for her services is also an indictable offence. I don't know. Is this the case in America? If that's the case, then why wasn't President Clinton indicted or arrested for a similar offence? And actually, Trump has denied any relationship with Ms. Daniels. We only have her word that there was actually a relationship, or that there was any money paid. That hasn't been proved either. But with the Clinton thing, it was proved that he perjured himself in front of the House of Representatives. So I don't see what the difference is. Perhaps somebody can correct me on that. However, this is all very nasty, and it's quite possible that they might be able to do something that will stop him running as a Republican candidate in the next elections. And that's quite a nasty thing. It's very nasty that they are so afraid of the people that they have to get at the people's candidate in this way. But things are changing, at least in Europe, and that means that things will change in America as well, sooner or later. As we know, in November, a lady referred to as far right was elected as Italy's Prime Minister. Now, she hasn't done anything so far that's far right. Well, not more than most slightly right of centre political parties might be. And now in Holland, well, look at this headline. Happened, Dutch Farmers Protest Party celebrate shock win. You see, the Dutch government has been trying to pass some very draconian laws about restricting Dutch farming. Now it's not CO2, it's nitrogen that's causing the problem. Look, what happened to Holland was that during the war, people starved. I mean, it's difficult to believe that there's actual famine in a European country. It's difficult for us to see that now. But that's what was going on in Holland during the war, because the Germans were taking all their food and they couldn't grow enough of it and they couldn't get enough in. So after the war, they went on a very deliberate policy of intensive farming. So yes, there's this intensive farming that is still going on, and there has to be some control over it, perhaps. But of course, the government, like many governments recently, have decided to go too fast, too soon, and they're completely going to wreck the farming industry in Holland. And it is an industry, and it's an important industry as well. And it's not just the farmers. Obviously, the government thought, well, there's only a few farmers, so whatever happens, the vote will stay with us from the people in the cities. No, because the people in the cities know about the famine. There might still be some people who remember the famine. There are certainly people who remember the stories their parents told them about the famine, and this is what happened. The party won. Now, this is just part of a movement, and I confidently expect that when the next elections come up in Britain, there'll be a similar movement, possibly to the Reform Party, which I'm not that happy about, because they want to abolish the House of Lords, and I don't think that's a good idea. But this idea that the governments that we have now are letting us down and are afraid of the voices of the average working person and wish to suppress those voices, that is a message that's getting across. We saw it very clearly in Canada, of course, when the truckers, I mean, how much more of the average working person or highly skilled working person can you get than a trucker, and especially in Canada, which relies on trucks to provision it right across a vast territory in some of the worst weather in the world. And yet Trudeau was really treating them very badly. And this has not been forgotten. And people in Holland will not have forgotten it. The message will have gone across, even though it was something that was happening very locally in Canada. And that's why the Democrat Party are so worried about Trump. And that's why all these newly authoritarian parties really have to start worrying about their behaviour. And this is giving me a lot of hope. So on Mother's Day, which is today, I suppose, you guys, I believe in America it's a different day. Possibly you people in Australasia will be getting this somewhat late. Never mind. I have a date with a bottle of champagne that one of my sons sent me, and so I'm just going to sign off now until next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com And whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share, share, share.